When the cameras ceased and the stage lights went off, it was not expected that Kirk Frost would deliver the revelation that would alter everything. For many years, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta has revolved around his relationship with Rasheeda. It keeps getting through despite being rebuilt, tested, and broken again. But now Kirk is in a very other maelstrom. Kirk shockingly revealed to the world that he was married to Jasmine Washington. The crowd went silent. The performers became silent. Rasheeda broke down in tears in front of her friends, cameras, and a million unanswered questions. What was the reason of this? After a controversy, how did Jasmine end up getting married? And what does Rasheeda take out from this? The family, as well as for the show that brought them all fame? This is more than just gossip. This will always be remembered by fans as the crucial point. Kirk Frost was at RIA at VH1. To understand the significance of Kirk's insight, we need to go back in time. Kirk Frost has always been a complicated figure on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. On TV, he was a devoted husband, but he was also a man surrounded by rumors of adultery, whispers, questionable choices, and the kind of quiet tension that propels entire seasons of reality TV. The weight of popular opinion, on the other hand, fell on Rasheeda. She juggled her duties as a wife, mother, and businesswoman while balancing a career, a marriage, and a cast that thrived on drama. Together, they were both fascinating and complicated. A few others cheered them on as they fought. Jasmine Washington trailed behind. When Jasmine entered the picture, the internet went crazy. First, there were rumors of an affair. Then, using the hashtags Dasher Kirk Drama, Dasherheed, who is the father, the story dominated headlines for months, both inside and outside the VH1 bubble. Every episode promises a new viewpoint, a new reaction, a new confession, but there is never a happy conclusion. The baby narrative line hung in the air like a persistent thundercloud. At last, the performers seemed to go forward. Rasheeda and Kirk concentrated on their relationship. They appeared to be together, even smiling, as though the most trying moments were behind them. While some people applauded Rasheeda for defending her family, others chastised her for being too forgiving. Ratings were still strong, though, and for a while, everything seemed to be steady. No one had yet to whisper Kirk's news in a corner. It wasn't gossip, a leak, or a blurry Instagram live. It was an outspoken declaration in front of cameras, co-stars, and other people who understood the damage that a single word might cause. "I've made a decision," Kirk reportedly said to an astonished crowd. When the speaker announced, "Jasmine and I are now married," the audience froze. Some thought it was a bad joke. Many believed it to be a pre-planned plot point when the details were made public. The marriage took place in a calm, legal setting away from the madness of Atlanta, with the necessary paperwork already filed. Jasmine Washington's years. In legal terms, Kirk's wife and Rasheeda were now the other women in a complicated triangle. Her reaction, according to witnesses, was immediate, unfiltered, and heartbreaking. She stood still, trying to process what had just been spoken, tears running down her face. Friends rushed to her side. The performers exchanged nervous glances. The cameras kept recording. Rasheeda wasn't on stage, but moments like these are what drive reality TV. This had no storyline. In real time, her life was unraveling. Social. Media took off in only a few minutes. Bits of the news spread on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok before the event was over. Thousands of comments were left on Rasheeda. "You truly deserved better. Team Rasheeda." The woman he recently married divided his family. "Kirk Frost had better be fake for ratings since I'm tired of RL bloggers who scrutinize every moment of the video." Lingering on Rasheeda's face, Jasmine's face, and the cast's uncomfortable silence. Had years been spent planning this betrayal? Was that the turning point for Jasmine? That's right. Was it, as some have said, the biggest narrative twist in the history of the Love and Hip Hop franchise? What is perhaps more shocking about this announcement is its permanence. You can refuse affair. A rumor can be propagated. But a marriage is made up of records, signatures, and rings. Things that are hard to hide or undo. It goes beyond just an emotional wound. It's legal. Kirk's decision to make a symbolic declaration about transformation, Jasmine in public, forever, and without regret for Rasheeda. The pain wasn't just from losing her husband, having to do with the events that took place. Without any previous notice or debate, a headline was dumped in the middle of a throng for everyone to see. Rasheeda cried when she asked the same question, according to people close to her. Why in this manner? Fans are already anticipating what will happen next. Will Rasheeda leave the show? Will Kirk and Jasmine reunite as a married couple? Will VH1 improve this situation, making a new season centered around heartbreak? Tragedy and viewership often go hand in hand in the world of reality television, but even seasoned producers are said to have been taken aback by this development. Rasheeda hasn't been using the internet recently. No postings, no statements, just silence. The kind that is heavy, deliberate, and full of private conversations that may never be shared. Kirk also hasn't made any posts. Jasmine is not an internet user. But they can all hear the internet clearly enough. This announcement isn't only unexpected. It's a cultural moment for love and hip-hop in Atlanta. A story of love, betrayal, reconciliation, and now complete reversal. Regardless of whether this is the start of a new chapter or the end of one entirely, one thing is certain. Fans will never forget the moment Kirk Frost declared to the world that Rasheeda, the woman who supported him, and Jasmine Washington were now his wife. Him through a succession of scandals. Wept in bed. Kirk Frost. Rasheeda at Frost 117 at VH1. At Levon Hip Hop. Jasmine Washington. RASHEDALHAL drama. When a story like this takes off, it affects not only the main protagonists, but also families, friendships, businesses, and a fan base that has developed an emotional attachment to these people over time. The night after Kirk's revelation, phones rang. The producers arranged emergency calls. In Atlanta's tight-knit entertainment scene, public relations teams scrambled to craft statements that said just enough to diffuse the issue without stifling anybody. The whispers continued. Some insiders said they had seen this coming. They talked of late-night texting, quiet dinners, and occasions when Kirk and Jasmine seemed closer than usual for co-parents. Others stated they were caught off guard, that they genuinely believed Kirk and Rasheeda had improved, and that the three adults had coexisted peacefully without bringing up old grievances. Fans, meanwhile, didn't wait for the information. They made up their own tales. Twitter conversations were sparked by screenshots. Kirk was spotted near Jasmine's residence. Jasmine was wearing what seemed to be a ring in a photo posted weeks prior, a behind-the-scenes film showing Kirk being distant at a family get-together. The Kirk weddings were fashionable by dawn. Both offensive and humorous memes were present. They were all adding gasoline to an unmanageable fire, one of the most challenging parts of any reality. TV debate surrounds the question of what is real and what is for ratings. Love hip-hop is fueled by heightened emotion, yet is based on actual individuals going through genuine events. Bloggers, commentators, and even other cast members were voicing their thoughts by the middle of the week. If it's a storyline, this is fantastic. If it's not, it's disastrous. The fact that we are seeing a marriage disintegrate in real time at Real Litter Capper is astonishing. Protect Rasheeda at all costs. Costs. At Fangirl ATL, people's lives are like this. This is no longer television. Rasheeda's inner circle tried to create a safe space behind closed doors at Street Talk Kale. Her acquaintances said that she was numb and kept replaying the discovery in her mind while deciding whether to go public, remain silent, or stay out of the spotlight completely. According to reports, Kirk informed a mutual acquaintance that he couldn't stay in limbo after she told a friend, "I built a life with him in front of millions, and now he's tearing it down the same way in front of millions." That the decision to marry Jasmine was not meant to be an insult to Rasheeda, but rather as a new beginning. Whether or if Rasheeda or her supporters find any emotional connection in that explanation is another story. Executives at VH1 were reportedly divided. Some saw the situation as an unavoidable disaster that needed to be handled carefully to protect the brand. For some, it was a divine gift, painful but certainly entertaining television. They spoke about whether to expedite filming, make a special, or wait for things to calm down. When someone allegedly said in a meeting, "We're not just telling a story anymore, legal teams began to look at timelines. We're dealing with ramifications that might impact contracts, reputations, and possibly custody. Were Kirk and Rasheeda still legally married off-screen on reality TV? Would any assets, businesses, or contracts be impacted by a legal separation? There may be conflicts between production reality and reality that soon become very expensive. Jasmine stayed silent in the interim, a stillness that fans interpreted in a number of different ways. While some said it was tasteful and that she wasn't pouring salt to an already raw sore, others accused her of staying hidden and letting Rasheeda endure the public humiliation while she enjoyed the private benefits. The quiet only served to heighten the clamor because camera crews were close by, and by the weekend, photographers had camped at almost every known address. Behind. A single photo of Rasheeda visiting a lawyer's office went viral, although it was unclear if she was doing it for personal, professional, or family reasons. Custody battles, contract negotiations, divorce proceedings, and caption wars began. During trying times, the Love and Hip Hop family respects our cast's privacy. An impartial comment was posted by Haddle's official account. Fans of #LHL were not pleased. They expected transparency rather than corporate distance, and they will continue to share their journeys as they see fit. It's easy to ignore the human cost of this situation, but they needed someone to take a stand and talk openly about what had happened, who was at fault, who was angry, and whether or not the program they loved would permanently lose one of its important couples. In the midst of the hashtags and polarizing views, friends were taking sides, business partners were reviewing contracts, and kids in Atlanta homes were asking questions. 3 people who had spent a significant amount of their private life on television were now dealing with a situation that was too genuine, messy, and emotional to be manufactured in the background amid all of this. Event planners whispered about upcoming appearances, whether they would be canceled, whether the singer would resume recording, and music blogs started to wonder if fashion pages would disassociate Rasheeda's brand from Frost-related initiatives. A situation like this doesn't stay confined. It extends, twists, and finds its way into unexpected places. It would be uncertain whether any of this would seep into public spaces, and guest lists would change by Monday. Offers for exclusive interviews had already been made according to a well-known gossip website in the morning. These interviews might shape public opinion for months or even years. According to The Only Certainty for Now is Uncertainty, insiders claimed that Rasheeda's team was carefully weighing truth, tone, and timing since they knew that a single phrase might trigger an already tense scenario. Kirk's disclosure could have been the first domino, but what happens next? Decisions about friendships, employment, marriages, and branding are still being made in real time. By Tuesday, with 1 million curious bystanders watching, the story had progressed beyond a marriage. Kirk Frost, Jasmine, Washington. Rasheeda. Reality TV drama at VH1 at Lavender Hip Hop at Rasheeda at Frost 1 and 17. It has become a cultural talking topic on talk radio shows, morning TV gossip shows, and even some major news websites. When reality television enters the public sphere, it usually signifies one of two things, either a period of extreme human drama or pure humor, and this was the latter. Plotting the dates of Kirk and Jasmine's first meeting, comparing production timetables, and speculating on whether the marriage had been quietly growing for months were all part of the podcast episodes that focused on the time frame. It was ugly, compulsive, and just what happens when a fan base is taken aback. Even further, amateur detectives created flowcharts and claimed sources in Reddit discussions, some of whom may or may not have met any of the participants. Throughout it all, Rasheeda said nothing, and that quiet spoke its own tale. While some fans found it frustrating, others saw it as a sign of strength, a lady sacrificing her dignity for the sake of the program. She was, according to one acquaintance, attempting to find out how to defend herself while also protecting her family during a peaceful period of regrouping, as described by others close to her. To find out how she was doing, they needed a post, a statement, or just one comment. Jasmine also didn't say anything, publishing neither ecstatic nor mysterious posts. Both women appeared to be aware of the gravity of the situation, and that everything they said in public would be captured on camera, frozen, scrutinized, and maybe used against them in the future. Sometimes the most measured strategy is to keep silent in a time when every comment gets transformed into a headline. For his part, Kirk reportedly got in touch with Rasheeda privately and asked for a face-to-face meeting so that he could directly explain his decision to Rasheeda. Whether the meeting truly took place is uncertain. Meanwhile, producers were presented with a dilemma. According to one insider, she desired space rather than a conversation that might be turned into material. Meetings were held on a regular basis. Editors were asked to examine previous material, and the biggest storyline to ever affect the brand was either leaned into or disregarded without being exploitative. Could they produce a special episode that paid tribute to the events without reliving the anguish for everyone? Could the current season be reframed? We've built a career on showing people's lives, according to one producer. This is only a shabby imitation of who they are. The situation became normalized in Atlanta's nightlife, as DJs joked and promoters debated whether inviting any of the three to shows would be seen as rude or loyal. Reality TV blurs the line between community and celebrity, giving everyone, including those who are only viewers, the impression that they are a part of the story. That line was thin now. Legal gurus on the internet provided criticism that blended entertainment law with gossip. If Kirk and Rasheeda were, others noted that bureaucratic delays often cause the emotional dissolution of a marriage to occur far earlier than the legal one. Depending on the jurisdiction, he may face annulments or possibly criminal charges if he married Jasmine while still legally married. Rasheeda's stores, collaborations, and appearances were closely monitored by brand managers, who linked them all to a personal brand built on cooperation, strength, and hustle. By presenting her as a heartbreak survivor in the public light, we'll see. This betrayal hurt or strengthened that brand? Meanwhile, Kirk's name was popular, but not in the way that sponsors would like. Silence may sometimes maintain worth. Some fans posted long messages of support for Rasheeda, and others began to openly take sides. Bad press seldom does. You will come out of this even stronger since you have inspired so many of us at Rasheeda to endure adversity. Others, like Tashin Chasha Team Rasheeda, stood up for Kirk. Jasmine received support from a smaller but more vocal number of individuals who said that she had been vilified for years and was finally receiving respect, that relationships are complex, and that no one outside the marriage knew the complete story. They have no idea what happened, thus they should quit pretending to live in that place. Acknowledged as someone Kirk truly had affection for. It seems that Jasmine Washington was more than just a fleeting interest after years of longing. The animosity could have been misdirected. Justice for Jasmine in group conversations and forums. Conversations turned into angry. Others considered how hard it is to tell the difference between real melancholy and produced tension, while others pondered what this meant for the love and hip-hop brand. Those closest to the problem tried to create a barrier in the real world, away from social media and television, while admitting that they didn't know how to feel furious, sad, entertained, or all three. Others just took a step back. Children needed to be protected from the noise. Possible consequences included reviewing court documents, relocating personal property, freezing accounts, and rendering decisions in private kitchens while the public raged online. Throughout it all, Kirk's timing stood out. Why now? Why in public? Why so abruptly? You don't drop a bomb like that in front of cameras unless you want to fire, said one cast member, who asked not to be named. Even people who felt sorry for him had trouble understanding the delivery. He knew exactly what he was doing, and the marriage's public character created a conflict. By planning it as an event, Kirk turned a private decision into a public debate, encouraging all viewers of love and hip-hop to comment, lament, laugh, and make assumptions. The advantage and disadvantage of reality TV is that you reveal enough personal information that you have no control over how other people react when anything significant happens. It was clear by the end of the week that this story was not going away. It was not a controversy that could be wiped up in one weekend. It had professional, legal, and emotional roots, and those roots would have an effect whether anybody wanted them to or not. By the second weekend after the announcement, Alo and hip-hop at ATL at VH1 at